Hello and welcome to this next installment of our plant engineering video conversation. I'm your host, Amara Razgas, Editor-in-Chief of Plant Engineering, and I've connected with Andrew Dobbins at Castor Concepts. This is part of the Maintaining Your Plant Floor Edge video series, which focuses on maintenance from a variety of different angles. Hey, Andrew, how are you today?
I'm great, Amara. How are you?
Very good, very good. Thanks. Let me give the audience a little bit of background about you, just so they understand where we're coming from.
Sure.
Andrew Dobbins serves as Vice President of Manufacturing at Castor Concepts. With more than 20 years of experience in manufacturing, Andrew has played a pivotal role at Castor Concepts. His career has been marked by a strong commitment to quality, employee development, and innovative problem solving. He's successfully implemented quick response manufacturing to reduce lead times and enhance customer satisfaction. So, Andrew, it sounds like you've been doing a lot of different things here. So, let's kind of start at the top. What are the key maintenance strategies to ensure the reliability and longevity of equipment on the plant floor?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. I think the most important thing, and it may seem like common sense, is just, regular scheduled maintenance checks and ensuring that those working closely with your maintenance department and supervisors to make sure that just the daily, what I always like to call blocking and tackling items are taken care of. There's going to be certain things that just happen. And I'm a firm believer that if we maintain our daily maintenance checks, that we're going to take care of about 95% of those items. Um, I think an important part of it is communication. So it's communication with the maintenance staff to operators, or just workers in the area. Um, to it's an eyes and ears sort of thing. Everybody has to have their eyes open and have their ears open. And so, if we hear of something that doesn't sound right, if the machine's not performing the way that we expect it to, then we need to be able to go, hey, Matt, this is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm seeing. Can you take a look at that? Those are the big things. And for us, um, because we're not making thousands of the same widgets, we have a lot of highly specialized urethane processing equipment. Um, so one of the things that's important for us is having spare components. The thought of not having a spare component and having to wait for it to come from France, and being down for 2, 3, 4, 5 days just doesn't work in our world. So having a maintenance staff, um, that is that is performing the prescribed daily maintenance or weekly maintenance or monthly maintenance, that is open to having discussions with operators, and team leaders, and then making sure that we invest in, proper, I'll call them spare components, but it may not be a spare component. It's backup components, backup parts that we may need, through the process. I think that is key to keeping our commitment to our customers.
And it sounds like you're taking a really proactive approach here. So, how can a proactive maintenance schedule reduce the risk of equipment failure? I mean, what are we looking at here?
I'm looking to find a problem before it's a problem. Nobody, nobody likes to be a firefighter 5, 6, 7 days a week. It is far easier to proactively, schedule downtime, um, than it is to have interrupted time. For us at Castor Concepts, our on-time delivery, and our commitment to our customer is one of the most important elements that we have. So we, again, would proactively make sure that I'm walking around, I have my eyes open, I have my ears open. That we empower our people, whether it's our maintenance staff, whether it's line workers, whether it's CNC operators, um, to go, hey, I think I have an issue, or I potentially may have an issue, and let's work to get it resolved before it really does become a problem. Again, in manufacturing, you can always work on PM. There's always PM to work on, and at some point, something unforeseen is going to happen, um, and you want to know that I've taken, go back to your PM documentation. I have done these 6 steps, these 10 steps. So I know that this has been completed in the last, say, 24 hours or 48 hours. So chances are I need to look in this area, or I need to look in this area. Um, where people can get into problems is when you haven't done the PM. Now you're kind of looking for you're just looking for the shiny object someplace. That can lead to extensive downtime. Again, that then in return affects customer delivery, which is the last thing we want to do. Is
Yeah. Yeah. So, shiny objects aside, let's talk about common challenges. What are some of those common challenges in maintaining a plant floor, and how can they effectively be addressed?
I think that's another great question, and I really think that culture that you build is important to maintaining plant your plant floor and effectively addressing any potential issues. Um, and when I mean a culture of, I mean for us, it's a culture of cleanliness. We have an expectation for the way that my urethane department is going to be clean and organized. CNC department and assembly department, lasers, powder coat booths, electrical wiring. Um, and yeah, I think that when everybody buys into that culture, it isn't just when new people come into Caster Concepts, they know within the first day what the expectation is. So, a culture of cleanliness, I think, helps breed a culture of preventative maintenance. Um, and I've make it to a lot of places, but I have been in places before where it's like, ooh, I can see where some of the issues come from. Um, and I think a lot of that stems from just organization and cleanliness. Everything has a home. At the end of the day, everything is picked up. Um, I think that parlays into how we take care of equipment and how I think that all pieces together. Um, the other thing that I think helps us is that we practice what's called the great game of business, or GGOB, where we want everybody to think like an owner. And at the end of the day, the owner wants to make sure that the customer's taken care of. So, I think that helps. When my employees, when my guys and gals in the shop think like owners, they want to make sure that their equipment is up and running. My maintenance staff wants to proactively work to make sure that the problems are addressed before they're a problem. So they have a different mindset about what they're doing. Um, One of the banners that hangs in the shop is 100% on time delivery is everybody's commitment. It's not just a manufacturing issue. It's not just a sales issue. It's not just a shipping issue. It's not a purchasing issue. It's everybody. So, understanding our lead time and our commitment to our lead time, and how that helps drive the business from a growth perspective. But it also, it's lead time internally, and it's also lead time of, let's say, repair components. So as we talked about before, having having key componentry on the shelf and not having to rely on France um, is huge. So we make a conscious investment in spare componentry. Um, and then on top of that, I think part of it is, you know, we're kind of in the pucker brush of Michigan here in Albion. So we're not in a metropolitan area where there's a lot of electrician, there's a lot of support, there's that. So building key supplier relationships has been extremely beneficial for me over the years, whether it be with my electrical contractors down the street, whether it be with specialty machine repair. So I think building valuable relationships plays a part in just overcoming common challenges. That if I have an issue that I can't solve internally, I know that I have, while they may not be a part of my company, they fit the values of Caster Concepts, and understand why I may be reaching out for assistance or guidance in those situations.
All right. So it sounds like the business aspects are huge for you. How does regular maintenance of the plant floor contribute to the overall operational efficiency and safety too?
Yeah, I mean, if again, probably sound like a broken record, but if we're not doing our regular maintenance, um, we're not right now. Looking at the numbers this morning, 99.9% on time delivery for the month of August. 98.9% for the year in on time delivery. Um, our commitment is 100% on time delivery. So we're missing a little bit there. But we're always working to gain that next little bit. Because again, when our sales department says it's going to ship on, September 5th, that's our commitment. That's our word to the customer. So, regular maintenance, again, we can't ship on time if we're always fighting fires from a maintenance side of things. It plays into our lead times. So our current lead times these days, from the time that manufacturing starts, are 4.2 days, and that includes 2 days of outside processing that I don't control. So again, from an inside the walls, we have to go back to the very first question. We have to continually work on our PM. We have to continually be reviewing machines. We have to continually be reviewing performance of machines and monitoring uptime of machines. And then again, we have to, too often, I think, there's, maintenance and production may be somewhat of an adversarial relationship at times. And it certainly should not be an adversarial relationship. It should be a step and step relationship that the maintenance guy needs me to help him so he can be proactive. I need the maintenance team to be proactive. So the communication is extremely important. Timely communication is important. Um, and then, safety is always number one. There hasn't been a person that comes into our facility that hasn't heard my speech on day one, which is somewhat simple, and it may seem a bit funny, but it's, we have 10 fingers, 10 toes, and my responsibility is at the end of the day that everybody leaves with 10 fingers and 10 toes, because you have a family to go to home to, you have wife, you have kids, you have parents, grandparents, relatives. And there is nothing that we do, and I mean nothing that we do, that is worth anybody getting hurt, bar none, nothing that we do. Um, So speed at times can create, I I'm in a hurry to get something done, because I don't want to, disappoint a customer. And again, I think it goes back to our culture, our culture of safety. We're very fortunate here to, um, in my 20 plus years, I think we've had, one incident where somebody wasn't able to finish out their day, that they had to go seek care. Um, so it, you know, again, safety is just paramount. There's nothing that's worth anybody getting hurt for. And again, you know that's that's a preventative maintenance side of things. That's a culture. Um, it's probably more of a culture than anything. If you have a culture of safety, you have a culture of cleanliness. I think those two go hand in hand.
Very much so. The people behind the products are so important. And with
Yeah,
that said, I actually have a question about those people. Where does employee training come into this? And what are the best practices for ensuring that your staff are getting those necessary skills?
yeah, good question. So I think continued education is always important. And partnering with, in our area, it could be the MEDC or other programs that, through Jackson Area Manufacturers Association, Calhoun County Technical Center, to continue to build their skill sets. And it could be skill sets that, the employee is looking to gain to take on more responsibility or change their role in the company. And along with that, is just the leadership support that we have to have. If you just go, hey, you're a machinist and that's what you're here to do. Our job is um, to provide opportunities for growth for people. Um, not everybody's looking to not everybody's looking for the next, step, but there are a lot of people who want to know, well, where do I fit in here? Where do I fit in long term? So, again, that's where, the continuing education and leadership support. And then we've had great success, um, in cross training. So through our QRM, quick response manufacturing, we have a lot of people that, as constraints come up in the business, um, that we need to shift people from one department to another department. So making sure that we have enough, or adequately trained, individuals who can float between, let's say welding and assembly, or CNC department and our urethane department, or from assembly to a powder coat department. So cross training plays a huge role in just maintaining our plant floor, because people see different things. They ask different questions. Why do you do this? Why have you not done this? So being open and going, I hadn't thought of that, but that's a really good question. Let's work on it together. What ideas do you have, and how can we implement something that is, maybe from a safety aspect, maybe from a preventative maintenance standpoint, that we haven't thought about or we hadn't looked at before. So again, just when people have when people gain more skills, they inherently ask questions during those times. And then it's just making sure that you dedicate the time to do it. You can't go, hey, I want to cross train people, or I want to provide continuing education, for people, without being committed to dedicating time to it. And that time could seem like a waste people may look at it as a waste because I'm not getting something done at that time. Um, but I would 100% disagree with anybody who may think that. Um, yes, that time when people are learning new skills, maybe it's not as productive, and I'm okay with that. What I want people to do is I want people to learn new skills. I want them to feel safe. I want them to feel confident in that work environment. And I want them to feel empowered to ask questions when they're in those environments. And those questions, frankly, can challenge all of us, in what we think and how we do things. Um, so, yeah, employee training is huge. It's a huge part of our success.
Definitely. Makes perfect sense. Thank you so much, Andrew. I appreciate your conversation today.
You're welcome. Thank you for taking the time to hear me today, Amara.
Yeah. Well, that was Andrew Dobbins at Castor Concepts talking about several topics related to maintenance. And for more information on maintaining your plant floor edge, predictive or preventive maintenance, safety training, or other general maintenance topics, visit Plant Engineering at www.plantengineering.com. Thanks for joining us today, and goodbye.